Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing a large dress watch that has equal measures of intellectual and artistic beauty, 44 millimeters in diameter and pancake flat. This is the Bethune DB25 Midnight Blue, a combination of a red gold case, a fired blued titanium dial center, and a Grand Faux enamel hour track. It is a handsome panoply of colors, textures, tones. A lovely watch that wears surprisingly well on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and you can see the watch, though 44 millimeters in diameter, is a broad canvas rather than an obnoxiously oversized vessel, as it's only 10.3 millimeters thick, and if you measure it lug to lug, it's 51 millimeters across the wrist, but the lugs themselves are rather spare. As you can see, they are evacuated, somewhat modular, and rather gossamer, floating off the edge of the case rather than dominating the form. Also appreciate the fact that the watch has a proportionally wide stance. For its 44 millimeter case, the spacing between the lugs is 24 millimeters. And you can see those lugs feature the ogival or bullet-like form of the early de Bethune lug profiles, a little relic of the earliest days of the manufacture. They do boast an immense amount of design creativity, but also continuity, because this is a timepiece that in every respect is designed in parallel. You can see how the form of the pin buckle even parallels the form of the lugs and those ogival or torpedo-like tips. The strap is broad, large rectangular scale alligator leather, as you can see, broad and rectangular on the top, small round scale on the bottom, double alligator leather, and thus a very long wearing strap, as gator tends to wear longer than the calf generally used on the underside of straps. Now, I mentioned designed parallelism. There is certainly a great deal of it on the dial side of the watch, where things are simple. In fact, as simple can be. Let me relieve this one of my fingerprints, and you can see under the broad sapphire there is a remarkable paucity of branding, as de Bethune basically engraves the fired titanium disc in a very shallow and minimalist form up at 12 o'clock, leaving everything else unadorned, allowing the art to speak for itself. At the center you can see a hybrid of leaf or feuille hands and breguet hands. The hour track featuring lovely dark blue Arabic numerals, and you can appreciate the fact that they too are in a semi-breguet font, and the Grand Faux fired enamel, which is lovely, lush, glossy, almost wet in appearance, looks bottomless, but its number one benefit is that it totally resists oxidation and tarnish over time. It has the look of a 19th century pocket watch dial, extremely classical and then hyper modern. As we transition to the patented fired blue titanium, de Bethune has patented its proprietary methodology for creating this particular almost black polish and blued titanium all in one component. And make no mistake, it is both black polished and blued titanium. Turn it all over, and you can see a caliber of the manufacturer's own design, and there is a lot going on here. Let's start with the basics. You can see there is a titanium rotor with a white gold mass, and the mass is as far out as possible, but also in the same plane as the winding bridges and the barrel bridges, so it doesn't create any additional thickness. An enormous moment of inertia, move inboard, and you can find that that highly efficient rotor is also highly shock resistant. You can see the prong spring system, 4 prongs, and as you can see, a total of 4 prongs, 4 shock absorbers, and 12 jewels. The jewels are actually there. Let me see how close I can get to remove any stiction or friction created by the static cling of the spring against the rotor. Now, the balance features triple shock protection, or triple parachute as de Bethune describes it. You can see that there's a proprietary shock protection system on both sides of the balance bridge, and then at center you have Inca block for the balance staff. You can also see that the balance is made of 2 different components, a combination of titanium and precious metal. The rotor is in precious metal, and the masses at the outer edge the rotor is in titanium, and the masses at the outer edge are of precious metal to maximize the polar moment. You might also be able to see that there is a two-piece flat hairspring that is off-centered, so it has the same concentric beating properties. You can see it's slightly off-center in oblong form. It's not perfectly circular, and that off-centered mass, by virtue of shaping, helps this flat hairspring to achieve the same positional consistency and concentric beating of a Breguet overcoil, but it does it without any of the fragility or vulnerabilities of an overcoil. Now you have proprietary shock protection, proprietary balance, proprietary hairspring, and yes, you have a silicone escape wheel of the company's own design. There's a lot going on here, and that's before we even describe the power reserve, which is 6 days automatically wound, and you can see the watch giving up none of the refinements of modern horology with a high beat 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate, 30 meters water resistant. There is a great deal of refinement in this watch on both sides. Hyper classical on the front, hyper modern on the back, with a case that's a little bit of both. This is the Bethune DB25 Midnight Blue.